Hi, everyone. Dorothea Hendriks here, your communication coach in presentation skills and in public speaking. Today, a story about mind reading. Not the fortune teller kind of mind reading, but the kind of mind reading many of us do every day on a regular basis, where we look at a situation, we look at a person, and we know exactly what they're thinking and feeling. Don't need to tell us, we know exactly what that is. For example, maybe I had a telephone conversation with someone. So I'm talking with someone and I'm expecting a call back, but I don't get a call back. And now I'm thinking, she's not calling me back. I'll bet it's something that I said. I'll bet she's upset at something that I said. Or maybe you're at work and you're just swamped. You're swamped with work and you see your manager looking at you. Your manager's looking at you and you think to yourself, huh, there he is looking at me. He knows all the work I've got to do. I've got so much. I'm swamped. Cheap bastard not giving me a raise. That brings me to my story. My story today. I was sitting at in a seminar, waiting for the speaker to arrive, like many of the other people there. We're waiting for the speaker to arrive when a lady sits down beside me. No time at all. She turns to me and she begins to start a conversation. And she begins telling me how she's been out of work for almost a year. Her bank account is almost drained. And she got notice that if she doesn't pay up for her apartment, that she's going to be out on the street. And she was just beside herself. And then what brought her to the seminar is that she got a job. She got a job. She's a project manager and she got hired by a small firm as the project manager. She was absolutely ecstatic. And she goes on to say that she got this job, and on her first day when she was so happy, she goes in and the boss calls her. Young fellow, he calls her in and he says, so glad that you joined our firm. It's a good little firm. But I'm wondering here, if you wouldn't mind, I see from your resume that you also have human resources qualifications. And if you wouldn't mind, we need a human resources manager. And she said, well, I was hired as a project manager. He goes, I know, but our human resources manager just quit, just quit this morning. And we need someone to fill that position. Would you mind taking on that human resources position? Just temporary until we find someone, and then you'll occupy your project manager position officially. Well, she thought about it and she thought, well, it's a job and it's temporary. And this way I can show my manager that I'm able, I'm dedicated, I'm loyal, I'm a go-getter, I'm a team player. And so she said yes. So she worked as a human resources manager here, stepping into that position for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And she said it was overwhelming, overwhelming. She almost has tears in her eyes as she's telling me that she walks into that human resources position and she says there were files that were incomplete, application forms weren't filled out. It was a paper nightmare. And she says, I'm still picking up the odd bits and pieces of it here and there. Anyway, she continues. She goes through it. She's in early, many times before her manager. She's there late, many times after her manager's long gone. And she knows she sees him looking at her as she's trying to go through mountains and mountains of files and paperwork and regulations and documentation and all those other issues that fall under human resources management. And then one day, about 5 months later, he calls her in and he says, you know what? We've got a project for you. Small team, small project, but if you wouldn't mind taking it on, we'd really appreciate it. And she's ecstatic. She's going, oh, cool. I'm now back to what I originally was hired for, a project manager. And then he says, but we still don't have anybody for human resources. So if you wouldn't mind just continuing on in that job as you take on this little project and manage this project. Well, she's a bit beside herself, but okay, she's got her toe now dipped into the project management position. Good on her. And they will find someone. It's 5 months, but they will find someone for this human resources position. And she sees her manager looking out. He sees her, and she's getting more and more anxious, more and more stressful. And she says, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. He can see the workload I've got, how stressed I am, how overwhelmed. I can't keep it up. I can't keep up both positions. I want the project manager position. I don't want to do human resources, but they can't seem to find anybody to fill the job. I'm just beside myself, and I don't understand his thinking. I mean, why is he doing this to me? And I turned to her and I asked, I says, well, have you talked to him? Have you asked him what's going on? Have you mentioned to him that you can't work under the stressful situation and that you can't give the company your best as a project manager or as human resources manager if they don't get someone to fill the human resources position? Have you talked to him? And she looks at me absolutely astounded and she goes, he can see what I'm doing. He knows he's not blind. He knows exactly what I'm doing and how I'm stressing out. I'm there before he comes to work and I'm there after he leaves. It's not fair. He knows. This young woman was doing what sometimes many of us do on a regular basis. Hopefully not that we catch ourselves, but what we're doing is mind reading. We're looking at someone else, we're looking at a situation, we're looking at a person, and we are convinced that we know what they're thinking and we know what they're feeling without asking any questions, without any evidence, without any proof. We're making assumptions and conclusions without proof. Making assumptions without evidence, without proof, adds to our stress, our daily stresses in life. It feeds our insecurities. Trust me, we don't need anything feeding our insecurities. I'm sure most of us have enough. So what can we do when we find ourselves mind reading? Well, that's the big thing. When we find ourselves mind reading, it means becoming aware that we are actually doing it, that we're making assumptions about what someone else is thinking and feeling. And when we find ourselves, we become aware, we stop. We stop. We pause, take some breaths, and then ask ourselves the question, do I have proof? Do I have evidence that this is true? And sometimes, depending on the situation and the person, you may want to just ask the other person, when this and this happened, I thought you, and I just want to, is that actually the case? You can reword that in many different ways, and sometimes it really pays to check in with the other person. Mind reading does us no benefit. No benefit. Let's leave mind reading to the fortune tellers. And for us, for the rest of us, when we think we may know what somebody's thinking or feeling, our best course of action is to get the proof, get the evidence, get the proof before we go any further. Until next time, this is Dorothea Hendriks wishing you mountains of success.